Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm the FX Trade Analyst, and this is another weekly analysis on the Forex market. Last week, I wasn't able to bring analysis for last week. I wasn't available. It was an Easter week, so I had a long vacation, so I wasn't able to. I didn't even look at my chart at all. I devoted time for family and friends and visitation, so I wasn't able to break and analyze the chart. But looking into this week, or just what has happened within that last week till now, you notice that the dollar index is beginning to consolidate, and it looks like it's pushing back to the upside now. It looks like the dollar wants to correct all of the gaps that has been created in markets in the last weeks, right? So last week we saw that these candles had closed, and then there's a break of structure that I see that happened. If I go to the 4 hour time frame, um, clearly I marked out a trend line, some sort of a trend line that I was carefully watching from here to somewhere here, all right, in the last week. And when I was looking at the chart, I looked at this trend line and I wanted to know what's going to happen, because if you notice, the market had made this touch here, came down, and then made this touch, and then pushed to the downside, could not go back up. Started with a break and a gap in the market to the downside, made a lower low, sweep liquidity, and came back to touch this place. So when he did this touch, I started monitoring the markets to see if it's going to pull all the way to the downside again. But of course, it didn't continue, and rather I saw this massive bullish candle closing above the trend line. So, and from that moment, I started to look for opportunities to go bullish on the market, to go long, because I've been waiting for this market to reverse. If you noticed, guys, this area we clearly had marked out before. The market has not come to cover this gap, so I've been clearly waiting for what is going to happen in the coming week. But seeing what has happened and seeing this break of this trend line, um I've been wondering if this trend line is very valid. But of course, I see a touch, I see a second touch, and I see a third touch here. So, and this very massive bullish candle that broke the trend line, and then give me another confirmation of this bullish candle. And if you notice that the rest of the candles had not broken below this, so it had come, tested this trend line and consolidated there for some time, all right, and then market opens again and pushed up with a bullish candle and has stayed here. So I'm waiting for this market to at least what I'm looking for to happen with the dollar index is for a break of this high, right, this high here, um this high here. I'm waiting for this market to be able to take it out. Once it takes it out, at least I will be looking forward to trade this market at least up to the 50 or 618 retracement. If I mark out my Fibonacci with this, I'll mark it out from here. I'll be waiting for this market to at least trade up to this zone, right? So I'll just mark this zone. So meaning clearly that if I take any trade, that I'll be waiting for this trade to give me some sort of for this trade to give me some sort of resistance in this place. So if I am able to look for what is going to happen with the dollar index, I'm looking for this market to push, at least get to this resistance level, and then I'm able to see if this market will continue to the upside, or this market will eventually continue to move to the downside, of course, to test this trend, the all-time trend line. Guys, remember, if I go to the weekly time frame, you notice that this trend line has been here. I was expecting this trend line to be tested in the last weeks, but it looked like market had failed to come to that same trend line. If you notice this touch here and that touch here, so I'm waiting for this next touch, but it hadn't happened. So in the coming week, I will see if this market does this retracement, whether the next thing is going to do is to come and test this trend line, or it's going to continue to move to the upside. All right, so for the dollar index, I'm very skeptical. I'm just going to be watching to see what's going to happen in the coming week. All right, but of course, I'm looking for longs because of this analysis I've just done now. Of course, we see that it's broken a trend line and it's trading above the trend line. It might just take off next week, become very volatile, and push to the upside. At least if you take any trade, just be sure to be ready to get out somewhere at this point, right? and then watch what is going to happen with the rest of the market in the coming week, whether the market is going to continue to be bullish or is going to reverse to come and test uh, this support, this trend line support here. All right. um let's look at the EURUSD last week as well. Just like everybody knows, that followed the pattern with the dollar index, right? It had been trading, it pushed to the upside in the previous weeks and then pulled down, and then has stayed right just about here. Okay, it has stayed just about here. All right, it's been trading just about here for some time, so it's consolidating as we can see it. But if you, what I'm expecting is to see this market come to test this trend line, right? I'm very, very, very positive that this market in the coming week is coming to come down to test this trend line before it continues to move to the upside. That's what I'm expecting to happen. Of course, in this market, if you pull the Fibonacci retracement tool on this, I can clearly see that this the 618 is just right about the same area for this last week of this candle right here, right? So if I pull the Fibonacci extension tool, you see that this market might just have to come. You know, the conferences are aligning that this market might just have to come back and test this area again. So I'm expecting this market to pull back, and this area will probably coincide with the 618 on the trend line. So if this market comes to test this area, I have a double confirmation to say, okay, it's coming to take out this liquidity and it's coming to a 618 and it's touching a trend line, so I'm able to go long. That's what I'm expecting. But of course, we know that this market, before it can set up, it might even take the upcoming week, or it might take the 2 or 3 weeks to happen. But I'm positively that this market is going to be bearish in the coming week. That's what I'm looking forward to. If I go down to say the 15 minutes time frame, um I can see that uh I can see that the market had been consolidating, just like we said, a bit in this space. So what I'm going to be waiting for is for this market to just break below this line, so break below this last support line, so that is being generated here, right? And then see this market push to the downside and come to this area of support, which is a trend line. That's the only time I'm willing to take a trade, guys. So for Euro USD, I'm just willing to just be patient and watch this market come to this my area of support before I'm able to take a trade to the upside. That's what I'm expecting to happen. It's been a beautiful trade, and at least Euro USD has been making has been following a particular trend, and even though it's consolidating a lot as it tends to pull back, the pullback is not pure. It's not like a pullback that anybody wants to trade. It's consolidating and it's pullback, then come back to test this trend line before it will continue again. You see this kind of pullback. It is not a pullback that one will want to trade with. So, and exactly the same thing is happening here. Of course, understand that there's been a lot of trade wars, so it's been affecting the market. The line, the markets are not very trendy, so we just keep waiting. But if this market comes to this trend line support, I'm able to take a trade to the upside. And I guess that will be the same thing I'm going to be looking out for GBPUSD. GBPUSD as well. I've been following this trend line also, right? Uh, Remember, the last 2 weeks we did our analysis. We've been waiting for what has happened here. We've been waiting for what is going to happen when the market returns to this place, seeing that that was a massive push to the downside and then a massive push to the upside without even no consolidations, no retests, no retracements, and nothing. All right, so I was expecting this market to come back. So if I pull the Fibonacci tool on this one as well to see, I'm able to see that the 618 or is somewhere right about here. So guys, I'm going to be expecting this market to pull to the downside, and then come to test this area, maybe push back up, come back to clean this one and push back, maybe test this trend line somewhere around here before it begins to go to the upside again. All right, I'm positive that this market is going to pull to the downside, but in the coming week, I think if you look closely on the 15 minutes time frame, I think there's some sort of trend line that is forming. So I'm going to carefully watch what's going on here. If guys, if you look, you'll see that if I mark out this line, if I mark out this, I can see that there's a trend line that is forming just right about here, right? So but if you look at this bullish run, you know again that this took out this high, but this next one made a lower high here. It made a higher low here, but this one had not been able to push beyond this higher high that is formed here. So we're going to carefully watch it. Maybe there's a double top here, right? There's a double top. You can clearly see the double top, and then it begins to push to the downside. So guys, I'm expecting that if this market does not come to take this out and it pushes beyond this trend line and comes to retest it, and then this market has turned bearish, I'll be looking for shorts on GBPUSD. All right, that's what I'm seeing as the market is right now. So guys, in the coming week, I'll be carefully waiting for GBPUSD to go bearish so I can take short trades going forward. But I'll wait for this market to break below this trend line, and then I'll watch what is going to happen with the market as it begins to push to the downside. Let us pull up gold. Gold had made a massive retracement at this. If I go to say the daily time frame or the 4-hour time frame, you see that gold had made a very massive retracement in the last weeks. All right, after this huge bull run here, gold had made a retracement to the downside, and then it looked like it's pulling back up. But this retracement, I think this gold is still going to come down, because what I'm expecting with gold is to come down and at least take out these lows. All right, gold is going to take out this liquidity here and come to test this area of support. I'll clearly stretch that support area so that it becomes very visible. Stretch out the support area. All right, so of course, this area of support seems to be holding. It seems to be holding pretty well. Of course, market had come here, pushed back up, come here, or come rather here, pushed back up, come rather here again, pushed back up. This week's are just false breakouts that did not hold. But I'm thinking that what is going to happen in the coming week is that gold will push to the downside, right? I'm expecting gold to push to test this area. If I had to use Fibonacci extension as well to draw out use Fibonacci to draw out this massive move that has. Okay, guys, I'll see that the 618 retracement is somewhere around here. So guys, in fact, I'm expecting gold to push up to this point, all right, up to this 618, and then before it begins to go to the upside. All right, that's what I'm expecting gold to do. At least gold needs to push down to this point, because all these massive moves gold had made in the previous weeks had not been retested or had not had any major pullbacks. But this pullback, I'm expecting to come to test this area, at least test this area of support before gold begins to go to the upside. In the coming week, if I need to take any quick trade, or before this trade setup happens, it might just take another time. It might take quite pretty some time. But if I need to take any quick trades in the coming week, I'll be looking at the 15 minutes time frame, and then I'll be looking at what has happened. If you notice, there's a trend line here that last week all this liquidity in this trend line had been taken out. If I pull the fibs on this move as well, I would notice that this market is retracing. It looks like it's retracing to come to the 618, guys. So see what's going to happen is that I'm going to be waiting for what is going to happen when this market moves to this area. I'll call this supply zone, and I'll stretch it out. Even that place had been some form of resistance or support, previously on the chart. So I'm looking for what's going to happen here in the week. I'm expecting gold to push to this point and then reject, maybe double test it, and then begins to come to the downside. So once I see any kind of double top or retest of this 618, then guys, and I see a strong bearish candle closing, maybe an engulfing candle, or maybe some sort of bearish confirmations using my price action, that will give me a confirmation that this market is going to reverse. So what I'm looking forward to happen in the coming week is to see what's going to happen when this market gets to the 618 Fibs retracement zone, which is here. Once it gets here, I'll look for some sort of confirmation to let me know I'm going bearish. And if I see that confirmation, guys, I'm willing to quickly put a trade just from here and put my stop loss maybe just above this level, and then follow this market up to this last high, this last higher low or lower high. Right, that's what I'm looking for to happen with gold in the coming week. All right, so guys, it's going to be quite a volatile week, so we carefully watch out on what is going to happen. I took a couple of trades. I wasn't able to post it for last week because I wasn't really available. I was trading away from my comfort zone, but the trades I took, I will break it down and then I'll post it, just like I promised that it's going to come. But it's ready. I took some trades, very interesting trades. You're going to learn a lot because I broke down the chart and showed you my entry points and waited for market to retrace or come to some certain zones, and I took trades. And of course, you're going to see how that trade played out. So I'm going to be, bringing that trade for you, and then the rest of the trades we're going to do in the coming week. Of course, I'm going to be sharing all my trades with you. All right, so guys, be safe and trade carefully in the coming week. Thank you.